Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's the No Level Cap podcast. This week, we're diving into 1987 Superman, The Quest for Peace. Yo, what's popping, y'all? Let's go ahead and tap in real quick for the superhero roll call. We got Will Coleman. What's up, Will?
What's happening, everybody? How you doing?
We've got Terrence Flowers. What's popping, Terrence?
What's good, YouTube?
We got Rakeem Beck. What's good, Rakeem?
We saving them out here, man.
Yeah. And we got One Punch Man, Master Combos, Devin Butts. What's going on, Devin?
I'm just looking for peace, man.
They were looking for peace in this movie. Of course, y'all got me, Sage Ashford. Man, let's not waste any time. Like I said, we're talking about Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, written by Lawrence Connor, Mark Rosenthal, and Christopher Reeves, which is interesting. I'm going to get back to that in just a second. And directed by Sidney J. Furie, which is, I was like, this movie had some questionable direction choices. Then I looked the director up, and I'm like, nah, actually, he got some directorial accolades to him and stuff like that. But, like, I mean, anybody can strike out, I guess. Just for a little bit of extra info, this movie cost about $17 million to make, made about $36.7 million. For reference, Superman 3 cost $39 million, so it made more money than so it cost more money to make than Superman 4 made, and then it made $80.2 million. And in the OG, for like full reference, the OG cost $55 million and made $300 million. So like, you see the fall off. Like, the fall off is drastic, man. And after having seen this movie, I think we can all see why this is quite the film. Will, let's see your thoughts on it, man. What'd you think of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace?
The Quest for Peace was a quest for peace. I'm just gonna be honest with you. There's so many things. Like, I feel like the beginning of the movie kind of had a way to go, but then once it started going deeper into the movie, this whole thing with him talking with his parents on the planet, telling them about what's going on, and him having the Kryptonian energy crystal. I was looking at that kind of sideways. I'm like, maybe I'm just not deep enough into the comic books to know about that, but still, it was just something. Then that him taking her to the roof, he's like, I need some fresh air, and then just casually walks off the roof. Clark.
What the fuck was that scene? I'll talk about that in a second.
That scene blew my mind because I'm just like, this man really just took her up here and walked her off the roof. And then he slightly slides out of frame and comes back up in the suit. And I'm sitting there like, he can do that. And it got even worse because he kept the glasses. And I'm just like, I'm like, I hope you see that. You didn't. Okay, Lois, thanks. You took the glasses off of him because you knew what you wanted to see. I ain't gonna say nothing else about that. But it's a film. It's a film. It has.
You want to call it that?
Yeah, I just want to call it a film. I can't say it was great. It was good. It was bad. It was horrible. It was just there. And it had me questioning things. On top of that, it had like 30, 40 minutes less than the other movies. So I'll give that. That's a plus because some other movies were 2 hours plus. And this one was an hour 30, and I was like, thank you. Because usually they give you a 10-minute intro sequence. But
yeah, this was much shorter on the intro.
Yeah, I agree with that. That actually was a highlight.
Yeah,
I know. They got straight to the point with the movie. Like, all right, let's talk about Superman putting all these missiles into the sun, which I thought that would have had some horrible actions for Earth, and that's too many.
I wouldn't think so, because like that's so far away. And the sun is already a nuclear reactor anyway. So, I mean, like, you dump some nuclear bombs, it's going to be like, it's like eating a bag of chips. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and also, I got to throw this out there for the reason why I found out it was an hour and a half. I know Sage might have touched on this, but apparently this did so bad with the test crowds, they said we had to cut 45 minutes of the movie.
They ran into budget problems, and then on top of that, the test screenings were so bad they cut 45 minutes, which would have put it at the normal Superman movie length.
Mm-hmm. So imagine if they reacted to it positively, we would have had an extra 45 minutes of movie ahead of us, and we showed up would have been
5-10 minutes.
This movie might have made sense.
It might have, but ain't no telling. But there's so many just wacky things in this movie that I just couldn't explain. And I don't even want to get through the list of them, but I'm going to get to another one that bugs me, and then I'm going to pass it on. Nuclear Man, or Nuclear Boy, whatever we're going to call him. I looked him up. That is a man from the UK. Why did he sound like a normal American man?
Oh, because that was Gene Hackman's voice. He was overdubbed.
Okay, so he was overdubbed. And then the other thing I want to talk about, Lacey can breathe in space?
Yeah, she can, man. She got them Kryptonian powers.
Because that blew my mind. I'm like, he took her up.
Hey, look, trust me.
As soon as she got into space, I said, what the?
I did the same thing. As soon as they were in space and she was like just looking around like everything was okay, I literally audibly just said, what?
See, I'm glad it wasn't just me. I
would have let it slide if it was like a 60s film or a 70s film, because I'm like, okay, they didn't know how none of that worked back then. But I'm like, 87. By 87, you got to know, like, it's just vacuum. But then I should have known when he, like, spoke to them Russians. And I remember me and King was watching that, and he spoke to them Russians, and I said, it's a vacuum out there. They can't hear none of what the fuck you saying. I should have known then they don't give a fuck about any type of scientific reasoning or any of that.
Yeah, same thing was when he brought the man back to the ship, and they sitting in the head of it, and my brain was like, is that just an airlock right there, or is that just straight up?
You're right.
Because I'm like, this is a vacuum of space. If that's open, why ain't they flying out?
You're right. You're actually you are right. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
The best kind of correct.
Yeah. So this movie is just it's a joke and a half to watch. If you sit down with it, you're going to find a lot of things wrong with it. You might scratch your head. You might shake your head. You might even hit your head. So by all means, don't really watch this film. I'm going to give it about a solid 4, maybe even a 3. And I feel like my 4 is being generous.
I think 4 is well, let me go ahead and because I want to set the stage for some of this for y'all. And this movie's such a confusing mess. It's 90 minutes long, and like the length probably wouldn't be an issue if it knew what it wanted to be, but it doesn't. Mm-hmm. There's so many plot points that just lead to nowhere, and they're just confusing for no reason. Like the Daily Planet stuff doesn't tie into anything. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just there to add a plot line, and then like it just wraps up in the dumbest way possible. Like the Warfields, like there's this rich dad and daughter, and they come in, named the Warfields, and they come in and they buy the Daily Planet. But like the dad, David Warfield, is barely in the movie at all. And then Lacey is a minor antagonist for like 2 minutes before she's like, you know what I need in my life? A clumsy ass cornball. Oh shit, Clark Kent. Come here. And you know how they say the
himbo.
Kind of cute,
bruh. Best word.
You know how they say the love of a good man or a good woman can change you? She didn't get the love. She's changed. And like, it's not like it was just for Clark, because that would have been one thing. But there's several points in the film where Clark has nothing to do with anything. And it's just about the Daily Planet. And she's just going from being like, oh, you know, we're going to be a tabloid with like the cheesy tabloid spreads and shit, to being like, no, daddy, the Daily Planet is about journalism. And it's like, what? When did you experience this change? Like, what brought this change on? Like, it would have been one thing if there was a romantic plot between her and Clark, and then like she kind of saw things from Clark's point of view, and then that changed her around. But Clark had no interest in her whatsoever throughout the whole movie, which is weird because the relationship between him and Lois, like, it ran its course completely to me. Like this movie, the beauty of the comics is that Lois fell in love with Clark and Superman. And so it was kind of a, well, even if you like, I understand you don't want to show her your secret identity because you don't want to put her in danger. But like, even if you did, like, you know, she loves both halves of you. Here, like in this film and in all the films, really, she only cares about Superman and couldn't give a fuck about Clark. Like, she sounded like she friend-zoned Clark hard when she was talking to Lacey, and Lacey was like, oh yeah, you know, that Clark, he kind of cute. And she was like, you sure? You know, and then she just started naming off all these excellent qualities, and she was like, Clark kind of boring. Like, you know, he's really nice and sweet, and like, he's the ultimate Boy Scout and faithful and loyal and all this other shit, but he boring as fuck. So why the fuck would you want that nigga? And I was like, yo, what the fuck is happening around here? And then like,
my boy Clark, man.
And it's just so weird. I know, right? And it's so weird because like, he seemed to not be interested in Lacey, even though she was like a decent person. And like the last movie, Clark had no problem ignoring Lois in favor of Lana. Like at the end of the last movie, he was like, "Oh, Lois, you trying to do what? That's cool, but I got this date with Lana, so I'm gonna holler at you." It's like this day was like, nah, none of that. And I mean, like, I guess the movie just had so little time that they didn't have time to believably develop any romance at all. So I guess it makes sense, quote unquote. And then like one of the other things I hate, the special effects in this movie, awful.
Terrible.
Just awful. There's one scene where Superman stops a train, and me and Keem rewatched that scene like 3 times to figure out what the fuck Superman did. Like he stepped on the third rail, got electrocuted a little bit, but of course he's Superman, so he shrugged that off. That part I understood. But then like the train just stopped as if he was just like, cut that shit out. And the train was like, you right.
He did the almighty push.
He just looked at that bitch and was like, I'm Superman, stop. And the train was like, you right. You are Superman. I'm gonna knock that shit off. I'm like, the fuck? And speaking of powers, man, Superman with the super amnesia shit.
Oh, okay.
Bruh. He just randomly giving Lois her memory back and then taking it away. And I mean, like, I let that shit slide at the end of the second movie because it was like some movie type shit. But now it's sliding into abuse. Like, you just messing with her memory for no reason at all.
I'm glad you're on the same train of thought I was. I was like, he's kind of low key just gaslighting Lois.
Absolutely. This shit is out of pocket. Like, he was like, oh yeah, and like the shit that Will was talking about where he just like basically flew off the building or jumped off the building with her and then turned it back into Superman, and then she remembered this shit and they had a whole little conversation just because he was feeling down in the dumps. And then after he was feeling, but he was like, all right, now take your ass back to forgetting who I was. I'm like, what? Like you way out of pocket. And it just made me wonder, me and Keem, I was like, how many times have you done this?
Wait a minute.
Just letting her remember and forget. What's up, Will?
During that flying sequence where he let her go.
I mean, that was out of pocket. I guess I just forgot about it because like they went right back to that corny ass, and like it was okay in the first film, but like now I'm like, man, if y'all don't stop this with that same fucking corny ass song and flying through the city with him, her holding her, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like it just feels like it's trying to get something from the OG movie, which is such a classic and so beloved, just so it could like feel a bit more relevant. I'm like, man, cut that shit out. And like to some extent, I'm like, I feel like Lois the power just stopped working a long time ago, and Lois just lets it slide because like there was no other reason for her to leave that damn cape there with Clark after Nuclear Man whooped his ass. Speaking of Nuclear Man, that man is ass. That character is ass. Like, and speaking of Nuclear Man and superpowers, Nuclear Man, y'all remember the part for whatever reason he caused problems all over Earth to distract Superman, and I was like, okay, sure, that kind of makes sense from like a strategic point of view. But then he like blew up the Great Wall of China, which had an astonishing amount of white people for no reason at all. And then like
tourism,
Superman just yeah, you did say that, and I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like he blew up the Wall of China, and Superman was just rebuilt the wall.
That Bob the Builder vision.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering that too. I was like, he just stared at it and it restored itself. I'm like, what power is that?
What power is that?
The Fortnite ability. You just press circle on his controller.
He got the sands of time.
Got the sands of time.
No, not the Prince of Persia.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could have rebuilt the wall super fast or some shit.
Devin knows I'm talking about that sound effect.
Yo, talking about that cranking 90s.
He could have rebuilt that wall super fast, but nah, they just said brand new powers because fuck you. And then they redoing plot lines for no reason. This is like the second or third time he had to turn to some old Kryptonian shit to help him out. I'm like, bro, first off, you a movie character. Like, you hadn't even faced that many supervillains. How many times should you even need to be bailed out? Like, it ain't like you face a new villain every month. You face a new villain every 2 or 3 years. Like, you need to be able to figure this shit out by now. And also, you're not a young dude no more. Like, it was one thing, like, the whole point of the first and the second movie was like, okay, you got to learn how to say goodbye to your old home world after you found out it exists. But, like, you 40 now. You shouldn't need, like, because the whole point of Superman 2 was, like, the son becomes the father becomes the son, all that stuff. Like, okay, cool. That was a child. That was like, he was 30 then, so it's still kind of pushing it, but I'll let it slide because Back in the day, they used to think you was young forever for whatever reason. But now you almost 40, and it's time to wrap that shit up. Like, you shouldn't be needing constant help from Krypton for this shit. Lex, they got Lex back in the movie for no damn reason at all. They just got Gene Hackman back. They was like, oh, we just gonna get Gene Hackman. We got to have some kind of star power to this film. So we just brought him back. There had to have been other ways to do Nuclear Man that wouldn't have taken up so much screen time. Superman basically said, I'm gonna get rid of nuclear weapons. There were tons of enemies that would have been made just him saying like, "Oh, I'm getting rid of nuclear weapons." Like it would have been U.S. and America, U.S. and Russia both would have been like, "Nah, fuck that. You ain't getting rid of our weapons." Like there's a point where he walked into the UN and it's like, I don't speak for any one country, and I'm like, first off, bullshit, because you made sure to stand that damn flag up 4 or 5 times while you was on the moon.
You sure did.
Bullshit. Yeah. But then also he was like, I don't stand for no country, and then like. They was like, well, you're going to need somebody to speak for you. And every country in there raised their hands like, I will speak for them. At which point, and Keem can vouch for me, I said, shut the fuck up. Like, they ain't the bullshit. Like, that's not how that would work at all. But also, like, America, and Keem made a great point. He was like, yeah, the people that would have been for it would be like the people that don't have nuclear weapons. And I was like, that's correct. But everybody else that had nuclear weapons would have been like, fuck this man. He not going to just take our weapons like that. And they could have built Nuclear Man.
They were real quiet.
Exactly. And then and the reason why that matters is because like you have Lex in this film, which means Nuclear Man never gets any time to develop. He's just there. There's this part at the end where he's just like, I want woman. And bro sound like Steve Carell from Anchorman. I like lamp. But like, man, if you don't get the fuck, like what?
Where's
woman? Yeah, exactly. That's what he said. Where's woman? And also
he sounded like Prabal. From Jenny Karkowski. What woman?
Like, why are you like? He just suddenly just was like, hey man, I've been around this planet for about 2 minutes and I just ain't had no woman yet. Somebody gonna have to fix this. Like, for what? Like, this don't make any sense at all. He could have just been, if he had been single-minded with like wanting to fight Superman, that would have worked for this short ass time span. If it had been a longer movie where he had a chance to develop his own secret identity and he fell in love with Lacey, even though Superman didn't love Lacey, that could have been cool and you could have done that. They didn't do none of that shit. They just, I want woman. Where is she? I'm like, ugh, first off, you irradiated as fuck. She be dead trying to fuck with you. Get away from me. Which, I mean, like, they ain't care about radiation in this movie at all because Lex Luthor was just going over to the man and lighting his cigar on his fingers and shit. I'm like, okay. Also, this man, Nuclear Man, the softest villain ever. He just like a worse version of Birdman. Like, no battery. Just the second he's outside of the sun, he's just fucking done for out here. Just turns off like a fucking dying cell phone on 1%. Just
man, he was laid out in that elevator like Yamcha, bro. It was crazy.
Man, this film is just a rushed mess that just shouldn't have been made, in my opinion. But if it was going to be made, I honestly think it should have been 20 to 30 minutes longer just to develop the plot points that you were trying to develop instead of just being like, oh, yeah, we just making a Superman movie and we just gonna put it out. As much as Superman 2 and 3, we talked about those films. They were not perfect. But like this right here, like after about 45 minutes, it's barely a film anymore. It's just so far off the tracks. It's just rushing from plot point to plot point, barely wrapping them up. That dumb shit with the Daily Planet at the end, I was just sitting there poking holes in the logic. He's like, oh yeah, I went to buy the Daily Planet. I went to the bank. They gave me a loan. I bought up all the outstanding shares, made you a minority stakeholder. I'm like, well, let's start here. If he bought the Daily Planet to start out with, then there would not be enough outstanding shares for you to buy to make him a minority stakeholder. Secondly, you said something about the bank agreed that the Daily Planet was just such an important place that it deserved to be preserved in history. No bank is going to do that. Especially since, thirdly, y'all were deeply in debt, probably because y'all just keep giving Lois all this damn money to go traveling around the world to do whatever the fuck she want to do. And then, like, fourthly, like, they not giving no loan to no nigga like Perry White. Get the fuck out of here. Like, how are you paying this loan back, my nigga? That would be the first thing out their mouth. Like, you want a loan? Like, how are you paying it back? And he would be, but the truth, justice, the American way. Get your ass out of our bank. That'll be it. So I'm gonna give this movie a fresh 3.5 and a get the fuck out of my face, and I'm gonna pass it on to Rakeem.
Yo, hey man, how am I supposed to follow that up, Sage?
Yeah, I know.
You hit it right on the head. So that's a lot I could talk about this movie, but I think the main way I want to come up with in my head when I think about this film is that it's just a movie that leaves so much on the cutting room floor. When you explain the situation with why they had to rush the film out and edit so much out of it, you can see it everywhere. I think some of the core like ideas in this film, the beginning where Clark goes back to his home and there's this guy trying to purchase the farm that his parents had.
Damn,
that was a plot point that was completely dropped. He didn't even go.
Yeah.
I don't think he went back to Smallville to get that rock. That was it. I don't think the Daily Planet getting bought out by the
Warfield.
What's the name? The Warfield family. That was expounded a bit with like spicy headlines, but there's so much more you could have done with that element.
Superman tells kid, "Fuck you." You know, that's
yeah. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. But I mean, think about like how compelling it would have been. Whereas like if you saw Lois's original reporting and they just altered it completely, that makes it way shiftier than having a spicy headline. The beginning of this film, what I thought this film was going to go was that the turmoil Clark is going through in his daily life, kind of in his post, both his parents are gone era, the farm situation where like this is his past and his history and his family. So he's lost both cultures. He lost the family he grew up with here, and he lost his former culture in the past. And this crystal is the last remnants of that. And now his job, the Daily Planet, the people he's learned to respect and he works with, that's getting uprooted. Then now you have this villain in this story, Nuclear Man, who could be a threat. So even his superhero life has got turmoil. So the theme of this movie could have been like turmoil on all sides by Superman. How is he dealing with these conflicts in every phase of his life? But this film ain't that deep. I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like, I'm giving this film more ideas than he even tried to give it. Firstly, I feel like as you're watching this film, it's kind of sad to see this in this state, because I have, even in this short stint rewatching these films, I only really saw Superman 2 and a little bit of Superman 1 when I was a child. So my memories of these films, I don't have the long-standing memory like a lot of people have where, oh man, this is a classic. I never really had that. But I have grown attached to some of these characters over the course of time of these films. I kind of like how Lois Lane, even though she kind of gets her own way sometimes, is kind of, straight-headed and like she's still kind of girly. She likes going on vacations and doing things her own way. I like the dichotomy of Clark when he's in between being Clark and being Superman, and how he plays that game a little bit. He played it really well in this film. That was probably the best part, when he was trying to be Clark and Superman at the same time and like switching back and forth. Now they got a little out of hand after a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like he was getting ridiculous, bro. This man was in the same room. He was in it. He was taking. He was breaking stuff on purpose. It got to the point where I was like, man, you kind of messing everything up trying to like
just a
hide y'all in
nuisance.
it. Yeah, this is just like annoying at this point.
Pretty much they replaced all the Looney Tunes shenanigans with his own shenanigans.
Yep.
That's a good point. Yeah, this movie's tried less to be funny than try to like play these little gags here and there. It just didn't work too well for me. I think another problem this film has off the bat is that it retreads too much from Superman 2. You have this villain who has similar powers to Superman. You have Lex Luthor busting out of jail, trying to get in between things and with Superman. You have Lois and Clark and their relationship being retread. It just seems like they try to take points for Superman 2 because they felt like that was the last time they even had some glory, because Superman 3 kind of ruined it. Maybe, I don't know, some input from other former actors or whatever, and it just doesn't work. It's like a watered down version of Superman 2. For the flack we gave Superman 2, this is a pale comparison to Superman 2.
Oh yeah,
It's not nearly as good as Superman 2 to me personally. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's not even trying to. But yeah, that's my main issue with this film as a whole. I don't really have a lot of positives for this film. It's just not doing enough for me to move a Superman like storyline and characters along forward enough. Everything in this film just feels like it's just dropped. It's just kind of going along just to go along. And it's causing Sage to kind of have this look on his face where I have to ask, what's going on, bro?
Baffled, like you said. I'm trying to think. You said I don't really have anything positive. I'm like, damn, I really ain't got no positives for this film. Like, it's just
I mean,
all,
yeah,
it's
I
just
didn't
all
really
like,
have
this was
nothing.
bad. This was bad. Like, the only thing was like the potential that could have been there, but like they didn't try to realize any of it. So it's just, you don't get no points for that.
I can't get this film any points. The relationship, the kind of weird relationship they try to do with Lacey Warfield and Clark, where she wants Clark. It's kind of like she wants him because he doesn't want her and he's not giving her attention. On top of that, and she's kind of learning to be a better person because she wants to impress him and show him that she's can be a good person too. But it falls flat because like he never really buys into her. Like at no point does he play into that enough. Like he tries at certain points, like he's working out with her at the gym, but that's his boss. I mean, if your boss tell you come work out, back then you gonna go fucking work out. You know, going to dinner party with your boss, who go to a dinner party. And then they try to the love triangle thing with Lois, him, and Lacey and Superman. So it was like a love quadruple. It was really weird. Love square. It just doesn't work. And let's talk about this, man. Clark got a new woman every film. He didn't got with Lois. He didn't got Miss Lana. Miss Tessmacher wanted some.
She sure did.
He slept with one of the villains from the last film.
He did.
And then he said that wasn't me. That was the other guy. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Clark, man, Superman done pulled some stuff in these films, boy. I can tell you that. That man gonna get him some no matter what. He gonna find him a woman some kind of way.
What bridge?
I think he's more of a heartbreaker than he lets on. I don't know.
What bridge?
Anyway.
Superman, don't you have to go save that bridge? What bridge?
What bridge? Yeah, that was like a weird pattern I started noticing. I was like, this man got a different woman every film. Like, what happened to Lana? Like, I guess having a kid. Some dudes can't handle that kid, man. You know, that kid come in the middle. They were like, you know what, I'm out.
It felt like they kind of just wanted to toss eye candy into each film, like different eye candy outside of Lois.
That's absolutely what they were doing.
That is what happened. Yeah. That is what happened. But yeah, let me get more concise in my thoughts because this film kind of is all over the place. So my thoughts are all over the place. The beginning of this film starts with like the dichotomy of Superman and Clark and going back to his farm and like finding this last remnant of his culture, which I freaking hated because I remember in Superman 2 at the end when he kind of like had to do that thing. We sacrificed his culture to be with Lois. That's another thing. Undermines his own writing. You built these stakes and then you just threw them away. You gave the stake that Lois would lose her memory because you wanted to protect her, and then you just undid it in this film and then put it right back in it. You did the stake where you give up your family and your culture for the woman. You undid it. And then now, like when you use the last remnants of your power in like with Superman 2 was, I don't know, maybe 3, maybe he did something there too, where the Force of Solitude was unpowered and you just had to like go it alone. That got undermined.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we got another crystal. Where did this crystal come from? It was always there. We ain't gonna worry about that.
You ain't never looked at your spaceship. That's your fault.
Just it undermines its own writing, and it pisses me off. The beginning of the film starts there. You kind of get introduced to these new characters, the Warfields. They take over Daily Planet. They want a new direction. They want everything to be spicy and headlining like actually kind of how it is today, sadly. Where everything's like negative and it undermines the process. And there's this clash between the journalists who want integrity in their writing and this rich dude who does not give a fuck about integrity. He wants money. Yep. And then we have Lex breaking out of prison yet again, this time with his nephew from 2.5 Men. That was a crazy reference.
Actually,
that was kind of
Lex, cool. Another Lex.
And he also played Lex Luthor as well. And then like they go with this plot to take the DNA of Superman and yeet it into the sun because Superman is collecting nuclear warheads. Oh, that's another major plot point in this film I gotta talk about. They had this strong anti-Cold War message, anti-nuclear war message, where Superman has to decide, you know, even though he's supposed to be a neutral party, he sees something that's going to destroy this world. He sees a bigger stake than himself, and he decides to disarm the entire world of nuclear weapons, which is a big freaking decision for a superhero. Like, if this was a comic or cartoon show, it would still have big stakes, and it talks about the times. You know, it pertains to the time period, that time during the Cold War, where people were really scared about nuclear war and the after effects of that and how that could, control the fate of the entire planet and how people's livelihoods would be affected. So I kind of got that story that made sense, and Superman having to buy into that was kind of cool. But then it had him create a giant net in space and put like all the bombs up there, and it was just like so silly. And he just started yeeting nukes into the sun, one at a time. And Lex Luthor gets the bright idea he's yeeting nukes into the sun. Let's put this DNA copy of Superman, which I guess his power feeds off the sun, to sort of create a clone of him and be birthed by the nuclear radiation of the nuke and the sun and be summoned out of space. And he's gonna come out fully clothed. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, he gonna know exactly where I am and come straight to me. That makes perfect sense. Yes. And he gonna barely speak. He gonna sound just like me, but barely speak. Nuclear Man was a big letdown. Nuclear Man was so whack. I just like, bro, this is the best y'all can do. This man has a motley crew of villains. They screaming. I would have took Toy Man over this bitch ass. Toy Man.
Toy Man could be entertaining, and budget wise might have fit better.
Yeah,
we gotta do better than this. We didn't went to Zion. We didn't went to Zion. We made fun of Zion if I was supposed to be serious, but Zion was way better than this dude. Come on, man. Like, Superman's villains got to have something to him. This dude was, at no point did I think, until he started hitting that man with the Iron Reaver Soul Stealer, I think Superman was in any danger. I was like, this man can't stand up for 5 minutes without going to cold. And his main power was extending his nails. I mean, get the man.
Fake ass Wolverine nails.
That's really the penultimate problem with this film. They build up these stakes a little bit, and then you get there, and it's a fucking letdown. That's the whole film. Everything's a letdown. The villains are a letdown. The story pacing is a letdown. The conclusions for the characters are a letdown. The romance is a letdown. Nothing's really resolved. And the effects and everything in this film feel like they're at the lowest stake they've ever been at, which makes sense. The budget was cut. And the fight scenes just like pale in comparison. Like nothing's interesting enough in this film to make me warrant a rewatch ever again. I don't ever want to see this film again. I don't want to look at this film again. I don't want to see Nuclear Man and his weird voice and powers and everything. And then at the end of the film, we get this part where Nuclear Man scratches Superman and puts him in a. It felt like he was had the flu at first until he started looking with the radiation.
Yeah,
man, if they hadn't shown him missing his hair and looking like really fucked up, we were sitting there like, is this the best this man got? You just gave this man a cold? He got a stuffed up nose? Like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this, Lois. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Like,
man,
to be honest, I had forgotten about the crystal up until that point. When they like showed him in the barn and his hair was like thinning and everything, and held the crystal, I was like, "Oh, that's what it's for." Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's this last ditch effort to bring himself back with this weird MacGuffin string. I don't know, man. At that point, I was completely out of it after a while, especially like the end where they fought in like the volcano and he picked up the mountain and flipped the mountain upside down, put it in the volcano.
It's not how that works.
Oh man! And then like use his ice breath on the lava. I was like, I don't think that's how that works either. Yeah, I was completely out of it. And then he yeeted the Nuclear Man and used him as a power source.
That was dark.
Energy back. That was incredibly dark because that man's probably still alive, just eternally powering up everything.
That was the thing, because I was like, did he die? And King was like, I think he's alive, and he's just I'm like, that's just hell.
You know, like weird woman.
And then finally, like so this villain already was trash. Then out of nowhere, he just looks at a random news clipping. Look at the picture. So he know how to read, apparently. I guess he taught him how to read. He can barely speak, I guess.
Yeah.
He looked at the picture like, damn, that's a good looking woman. That's what I want. He just flew straight to her.
I mean, Mariel Hemingway was very attractive at the time, but like, why are you focused on that? Why is that the thing he's focused on? I don't get it.
I don't know, but he was smashing walls to get to some walls. That's all I know. He was smashing all types of walls to get some walls. Flew in outer space. She was in outer space. I don't know how she was alive. That didn't make any sense. This man, pure radiation. Every normal person around him should just be dead. Yeah, you could tell if you never noticed by my time audience watching this, I lost halfway through this film. I was out. This movie is not worth watching It's not worth looking at. It's not worth looking at a trailer. It's not worth listening to the music. It's not worth. It's not novel. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It's whack. Do not watch this. 0 out of 10. That's what it deserves. Fuck a 3, fuck a 2, fuck a 1. 0. I want my time back. We need to watch some good shit after this. I'm sorry. We need to watch something good. I can't do this. I can't do it no more.
The next film we're watching is Batman. So
oh yeah,
we'll see how
okay,
that plays
okay.
out.
The dark.
Man, you know how bad Nuclear Man is, like how shit of a villain he is. To my knowledge, nobody's ever tried to like bring him into the comics. Like not even once.
His costume reminded me of another character's costume. That's the color. The colors kind of reminded me.
Oh, well, maybe I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like yellow and black, I think.
I thought it was like a bronze or like orange and black or something like that, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was like bronze.
Yeah.
Like
Just that costume reminded me of something.
When I seen him, I just thought he was a part of an 80s hair metal band, bro. That's what he felt like to me. He felt like a lead singer.
He definitely felt like he should have been in like. Oh, they actually do have comic book adaptations of Nuclear Man, huh?
Trash.
Ain't that funny?
Nobody talks about him for a reason.
Probably isn't written well enough.
Terrence,
Probably.
what you think of the film, man?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, you and Rakeem definitely hit on a lot of the points I was going to hit on, but I'll see if I can maybe talk about it in a slightly different way. I'll say that I'd always heard that Superman 4 was really bad. I remember the Nostalgia Critic, he did a video on it like years ago, and I remember watching it and him just trashing the film, and that was the extent of my knowledge of it. It was just I always heard it was bad, but I hadn't watched it for myself until now. And after watching it, it's funny because watching like the first, not even half, but maybe like the first third of it, I feel like it's like at that point, like when you get to the end, it's like, yeah, the film is just straight up bad at that point. But it's like the first third of the film is disappointing, not because it's just bad, but because there's like you mentioned, Rakeem, and even Sage, it's like there's so much potential that could have been there. It's like, for me, one thing that I actually like is that the movie didn't start with any gags. It just went straight in. It's like, we're not going to do no Looney Tunes BS where characters are being blown around by something or something wacky is happening and antics ensue. It's like, no, pretty much we're going to get right into the movie. Even the credits were not obnoxious like they were in the last film. Like the credits in the last, the opening credits in the last film, they were way more obnoxious with like the effects of how they were like going in and everything. And it's like, this is like too much. But this one, they toned it down. And I was like, okay, well, we're not off to a bad start. And then when we got to the point where they were in the Daily Planet and they had the takeover happening, and essentially they were talking about journalistic integrity, and it was essentially them kind of talking about clickbait before clickbait.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, this is an interesting angle for this to be taken. Like, I was actually surprised. I was like, this movie seems like it might have a little more to it than what I thought. Then we got into the whole stuff with, like Rakeem mentioned, like the Cold War, nuclear arms race, and Superman kind of mulling over the idea of, should I interfere with this? Like, is it really my role to interfere with the idea of with each these nations essentially trying to kill each other with nuclear weapons? Like, should I step in, or should I leave this to, the people? And I thought that could have been a very interesting moral dilemma for this movie. It's like Rakeem said, you have the whole thing with this time where this was still during the Cold War, during like the nuclear arms race, and tensions were brewing. And I feel like this movie wanted to send a message, but it just could not pull through on it. It's like they were like, maybe we'll go there, and maybe we won't. And that just really disappointed me, because I felt like each Superman movie pretty much had a theme. It's like Superman 1 is like the villain was essentially capitalism with Lex and his whole plan. Then you have 2, which was just the villains from Krypton. So it's just Superman versus his homeworld in a sense. 3 was more so like Clark versus himself. And then this one, I feel like could have been more of like the political movie, but this script is nowhere near smart, written well enough to tackle that at all. Just the fact that my man walked into the United Nations, and like you said, Sage, the fact that everybody was just okay with him getting rid of the nuclear arms. If they were that okay with it, they wouldn't have done it in the first place.
Correct.
Like, there's no, that makes no sense at all. You think that these nations would just be okay with giving up those nuclear arms? Hell no. Like, Nuclear Man, like you said, wouldn't even have been needed. Like, that's a villain in of itself. Just Superman versus the world, really. Just this.
Who's the villain in that? Because like he would basically be showing up and unilaterally being like, "Hey man, it's up for these nuclear weapons. You got a problem? Take it up with me." It's like, whoa, hold on, Superman. Like you run shit. You can't just be out here acting like that. So
exactly, yeah, because then you're kind of leaning into like dictator territory, where it's like, oh, you're exerting your power you're exerting control just because you're the one with all this power. And like, is that right? Should you do that? Like, I feel like that would have made this a much more interesting movie if something like that had been further explored. But like I said, this movie's nowhere near smart enough for that sort of thing. And just like I agree with you, Sage. Like, Lex did not need to be in this movie. He really didn't. Like, he did nothing for me other than him creating Nuclear Man. There was no reason at all for him to be in this movie, and his nephew. Just like get them both out of here.
His nephew definitely didn't need to be in here.
No, heck no. I mean, I guess he was meant to be like the one kind of like comedic relief, but I would rather take the OG dude from the first two movies than him.
Otis.
Yeah, I'd rather take Otis than him. At least Otis was like, at least the physical comedy with Otis was, it was endearing in its own way. But this punk kid is like, there's nothing that I didn't get anything from him. I just didn't like his character at all. I think it was Rakeem that mentioned the double scenes. I'm not gonna lie, that did get annoying for me just because it's like, all right, we've seen this in the films before. It's like, do we really need to do this again with Clark having to like dip in and out to be Superman, then to be Clark? And at this point, it's just shenanigans that just aren't necessary. This is like padding the film at this point. Like you all have said, Nuclear Man is like the most generic and most thoughtlessly put together villain in like a movie ever.
Fake ass Bizarro.
Like, he pretty much comes in, fake Bizarro. Like, he pretty much comes in like 2/3 of the movie, and at that point, you have no time to develop his character. He's just there as just a mindless drone just to serve Luthor's bidding. And at one point, I thought he was going to turn on Luthor, which would have been predictable, but they didn't quite go that route either. So
he go that route.
Yeah,
they didn't even try because he wasn't even able. That man Lex just kept talking shit to him. I'm like, okay, at some point, Nuclear Man gonna be like, hey man, you keep talking shit, I'm gonna show you something. Yeah. And then like instead, he like got to a part where there was no sun and knocked out. And Lex was like, yeah, I told y'all I got control over him. I'm like,
no, you
I
don't.
guess you do. I guess you got control if all you got to do is get him out of the sun for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much more that I can say that you all haven't already said. It's just, I feel like this movie had potential, but yeah, they just did not know how to. Not only did they run out of budget, but also they just could not write a script that was developed enough to even remotely touch on the ideas that I thought would have been really interesting. Just the whole idea of exploring like journalistic integrity, and that along with like the Cold War nuclear arms elements, I think that would have made this movie far more fascinating. I know for a Superman movie, you want to toss in a villain that makes things more interesting, and maybe there's someone else that they could have fit in there that would have worked with those themes of like the Cold War and journalism. But I don't know. If the writers for this movie didn't care, then you know what, I'm not going to sit here and brainstorm what could have worked out better. But yeah, I guess in terms of a score, I guess maybe I probably would just go ahead and give it a 3. I was honestly thinking about a 4, but it's funny listening to Rakeem do his rant on it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I could stand and knock it down another peg. I guess for me, because this movie wasn't quite as bad as like, at least going into it, as I had heard, because based on what I heard, I thought like all of this film would just be total ass. And like this would be like Batman and Robin levels of just tomfoolery that's just like so bad. Like Batman and Robin now is like so bad that it's just funny to watch, whereas this is just bad. So I'm just disappointed that there was potential there and they just couldn't do anything with it, unfortunately. We could have had a very interesting Superman film, but yeah, the gas just wasn't in the tank for it. So yeah, I'd probably give it a 3. It's not something that's really worth watching unless you just want to complete the quadrilogy of movies you know,
Basically, the only reason we watched it, like you
Was
wanted
it
to
complete
finish
the
it out.
quadrilogy?
yeah, it's like honestly, you could stop at 3. Really, you don't even have to watch 3. You watch 1 and 2, you be all right.
Yeah.
But you know, if you want
Yeah.
to watch 1, 2, and 3, and just stop there. Watching this
Oh,
film is like, nah. Save yourself 90 minutes. Go watch something else.
It's
even
so
watching it-
inconsequential.
Yeah, even watching it felt like you watching a series. It's like a one-off episode, and it's like the plot
Yeah.
is detaching and repeating the old plots from before, and it's just like spinning its wheels.
Filler.
I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
really filler.
When you
Yeah.
mentioned the barn, I had completely forgotten that. Yeah, they just left that alone. That's just something they just introduced, and they did not do
Right.
anything with it after that. I was like,
Nothing.
damn, he's right.
Part of
Yeah,
that
they could've hit the
45 minutes that
curveball.
got cut.
Yeah, actually, you're probably right. That's probably what part of
I
what
wouldn't
got
be
cut. So,
surprised.
yeah,
I mean, the script, as far as the script being kind of weak, I mean, Christopher Reeves, the only reason he came back supposedly was so that he could do a nuclear disarmament type story.
yeah.
Which I mean, like, okay, cool, but like, you definitely should have had somebody work with you to be like, okay, well, we got to strengthen this part right here because as it stands, it's just kind of a mess. I don't know.
They had like no scientists like to consult for this movie
Not,
like at
not
all.
a damn one.
If people
Nobody.
breathing in
He consult-
space, then yeah,
I don't
probably
think they
not.
did consultants, like science type consultants back then. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. Maybe that dates back to like the 60s or something. But I think that came later, like the consultant, like high levels of accuracy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think they even tried. I think they was just like, we just gonna write it and see what happens.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where for like a superhero movie, they were like, you know what, that we can let them suspend their disbelief. It's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Only children will watch this movie anyway, I guess.
Yeah, man. and Superman can speak 4 languages.
No, that part makes sense because he's like
I
a
know
super
it do, but
genius.
it just throws you because you just like, damn, you just fucked around and started speaking Russian.
He was
Excuse
good at
me?
all of them too because he spoke was it Brazilian or something like I forget what country.
Oh,
he was in.
Portuguese.
Portuguese. Yeah, he was just in that, just speaking that too. I'm like, all right, but then I remember I'm like, oh, Superman does. He is like a polymath. He does know a ton of different languages, so that made sense.
Yeah.
Or polyglot, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
polyglot.
Devin, what did you think of the film, bro?
Man, I've had some kind of high thoughts on these first 3 movies, but man, this one right here, boy, we definitely not making out of Krypton with this one.
We can get that crypto with this.
We are not making out. We down with everybody else over this one. Yeah, it's the I noticed the beginning. I know Terrence, all y'all mentioned the special effects were trash throughout the movie, but the beginning was a lot less obnoxious. They just had a little simple Windows movie maker thing, and it's like, hey, there we go, Superman. Not like Terrence said, not this whole look at the words and look at. It's like, all right, we get it, man. I will like the beginning, the whole, like you said, the whole thing with like the guy trying to buy the farm. They did that for like all of just a very quick segment. Then was like, hey, we out. It's like never brought up again. And then we get to Lex Luthor, and I'm thinking like, again? I mean, I know he's like one of Superman's like mainstay villains, but I'm like, again.
I think this movie and like I think this movie series in general is a large part of why so often in the 2000s people was like, Superman ain't got no good villains. The only villain he got is Lex. It's like you look at the films and all you saw was Lex. So
yeah, it's just like then this kid pull up in a I guess what you would consider a modern day G-Wagon, I guess. I don't know.
what the fuck that was?
Yo, that sound system though, the horns.
Bro, what
the
was
cops
that?
like, man, so that's a good sound system you got there. I'm like, who is this random kid out here? This like prisoner's mind. Like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, something's going on here. They get in the car. He's doors, windows, and then I'm like, oh, this somebody. Oh, he's coming to break Lex out.
Man, and in the way that car, the roof closed in the slowest, they had time to get out that car. They had so much time to roll out that bitch.
And they were okay after it, like
I was
launched off a
just about
cliff
to get to that.
and pretty much like exploded.
Yes, when he launched him off that cliff, he launched him off a cliff. They should have died, and somehow they climbed back up. They climbed back up.
Yeah,
Me and Keith thought they was dead.
I sure thought they was dead. I wrote them off. You probably talking the whole time, man. They dead as a bud. They were climbing up right there.
That because at
No,
the
we
end
ain't.
it was like, yeah, you gotta finish out your 20 to life. I'm like, 20 to life. Them cops died. So I guess they didn't. So I
Nah,
guess that's
they did not
Okay.
die. I was like, it showed them clearly Dukes of Hazzarding off a cliff, off a mountainside.
I can see their parachutes. They're okay.
It's like, and I was like, okay, so I see what we starting off with this. I see what's going on with this movie. Man, the whole thing, like with the war fields, it was kind of crazy. It's like, oh yeah, we got these tabloids, and like Lacey showed a print with like a kind of scantily clad woman, and then Clark's like, oh no, we can't be doing that. Right? It's about journalism. We got to tell the truth and all that, and justice and peace. And I'm like, and then like she starts like I'm thinking like, okay, she's ironing Clark, but I'm like, maybe it's like she got some ulterior motives. And no, she's just like, oh, I kind of
Right,
feeling
Clark.
him, you know.
That was it.
And she had like the conversation with Lois, and I really slick feel like Lois was doing that thing when she's like, I don't want him. I don't want Clark in particular. I want him, but not Clark. But I also don't want you to have him either.
Yeah.
So she kind of
Yeah,
That's
started.
really what I thought too.
Absolutely.
That's what I
That's
thought
actually
too.
a real,
That's exactly what
that's a
that
real
was.
thing that does happen.
She was doing
That definitely happens.
He's loyal, and I'm like, really, you're naming off a lot of good things. I feel like a person would want, and you trying to make it seem like. It's like, I was just like, okay, Lois. Lois is just, she's so in the clouds in these films for Clark. This is just ridiculous. Rakeem mentioned like a lot of rehashing, and I'm going to compare this to like, I know if y'all have seen me on this podcast or online period, because you know I'm a shield for the community. I've talked about this game a bit. MK1. This storyline reminds me of MK1. It's like a rehashing. You brought the farm back. You brought Lex back. You brought like the scene where they flew with like Lois in the first movie. You redid that again, just this time much worse. Oh my gosh, I wanted to punch my screen so bad. That scene was so terrible. Like the fact that he was just like, I didn't even know what was going on. He's like, I need some fresh air. She's like, oh yeah, sure, let's get some fresh air. And he's just like, she's like, well, Clark, he's up. Like, go ahead, Will. Oh, I thought you had something to say. Like the fact he just falls off, walks off the building. It's like, I'm like, wait, what is happening here? I'm like, is he just gonna tell? I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot he can just like, and like you all said, it's like, okay, you kind of abusing that. Like you just like, well, then I'm kind of down in the slumps. All right, cool, jump off. All right, yeah, I'm Superman. You know it, and I'm gonna just make you forget it.
That man
Like,
jumped
bro.
off and turned her into a jump off.
Bro, that scene was so bad. Like the special effects. You
It
know,
was
I mentioned the flying in the first movie. This was even worse. I said, bro, we regressed, man. This is crazy. I'm glad this was hour and 30 because I would have been livid if this was 2 hours. I'm promised. I actually fell asleep during part of the movie and woke back up. Like I just can't, man. That was one of my gripes with the first movies. Like 2 hours. Like, man, this is some long movies, but they were kind of, you know, they still had like the charm of it, like the funness. Like even with Richard Pryor, like the funness, even though like 75% of the movie was with Richard Pryor instead of Superman. But anyway, but this was just like, man, like this was so hobbled together, man. This was terrible. Like this, that scene where he went, I'm gonna rid the world of all the nuclear weapons, and he just the pacing. So let me say this: the pacing in this movie is atrocious. It's like stuff is just happening, and then we eating tacos. Now we in China. Now we fight Akuma. Now we over here in the Tekken 8 tournament. Like, what is going on? Like he went the scene. So the scene where they showed the school. The kids looking out the window like this. It's like, you gonna answer the question? He's like, his voice sounded so stupid. Well,
Yeah, they ADR'd that horribly.
bro, that was so terrible. But the thing that got me was the scene that came after that, where they went to the museum. Superman donated a piece of his hair to show how strong his hair is, and I'm like, so his hair can hold 1,000 pounds, but Lex can come in and cut it with a pair of
Random garden shears.
like. Again, you all talked about things lining up the logic. I'm like, that doesn't make sense because if it can hold that,
Tensile strength is something else.
I swear,
Bro.
bro.
and then that scene was so bad, man. Like Lenny just like useless. Like, why are you here? Like Terrence said, Otis would have been a much better fit. He just Hey, my Uncle Lex, like, shut up, Lenny. Get out of here. Go get your G-Wagon and drive off into the sunset.
Hey, they
somewhere.
kept
Go back
John
and get your
Cryer to a
subs.
minimum.
Lenny.
They
Man.
kept John Cryer
Lenny.
to a minimum in this movie. He was in there for like a little bit. He had about 4-5 lines of dialogue. He had almost as many lines of dialogue as Nuclear Man, and you see how much he was talking.
Man, that scene was terrible as well, man. Like, so nobody saw these two come in here. Everybody just left. Like, everybody's just gone now. They just walked in here casually. He's just like, oh, just the worst breaking of glass ever. And it's like, so what? So I know all of y'all didn't just leave. Y'all didn't
The
see
thing
this?
that got me was like Lex is supposed to be like some type of super genius, and that man was like walked into that building, walked into that museum, and was like, all right, about to pull this heist off. And I'm like, surely you got some kind of ingenious plan to replace the hair and make it seem like you was never there. That man had a pair of garden shears,
And just
smashed the
broke it.
goddamn window open, and was like, all right, snip, give me the eye, let's snip on out of here. I'm
Like, he literally just pulled off like just random like retail theft. When I worked at Target, people used to say that the people coming at the electronics section to take a hammer in the middle,
Smash
they
and
would
grab.
just smash the window and just take it. I'm like, bro, I thought you was smart. Well, they say that's a difference in book sense and common sense.
Apparently, we wasn't smart for watching this film.
I swear. But it's
I
okay.
just being the whole scene with the like Superman's like the kid's like why won't Superman say yes? They bring you bring the kid, like, why you bring the kid here? Well, tell him what you want to tell Superman. Huh? And then like I don't know if the kid messed up this part or if that was planned like in the script, but like he said it, but he didn't say it loud. It's like, say it again. Why won't Superman say yes? And all of a sudden Superman tells kid drop dead. Like, what?
I ain't gonna lie. That whole kid subplot could have been dropped.
Yes.
Like you didn't
wasted.
need those kids and like the newspaper outcutting. You need none of that
None
to have
of that.
Superman be like, man, you know what? Nuclear weapons is fucked up. I should probably do something about that. You didn't need that. You didn't need
But
to, like, he
remember-
could have got there on his own.
Remember what was it the last movie when he was like the kids what saved him? So maybe they was like, we gonna go again with the kid. Kids changed Superman's mind. The kid was like, you gotta just knock it off, or Superman, you just gotta get out of the slump, man. It's like, and he did it. So maybe they just like, hey, kids, they swayed Superman. He's like, I gotta do this for the kids. You know, Clark love the kids. Let's go out here and save the world, man.
Clark love the kids.
He go to the UN thing. They're like, hey, like he just walks up in there. I'm just like you all said, this would not have happened like that. He just walk up there, and they're like, oh, you need a sponsor, and everybody's like, yeah. It's like, what is happening? And then we ensue to this one of the stupidest scenes. He goes up, they shooting me. Why they y'all just so casually shooting warheads? Like, hey guys, hit the button. Like, what is happening? Why are we just shooting random warheads everywhere?
There had to be a better way to do it than just fire him in and let Superman catch him in space.
It's like, what is happening? He go catch him, put him in a net, and then that scene he's spinning around. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. So bad. The effects were so terrible.
By
So
the way, that's
terrible.
not how nets work. That's not how any of this works.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, the net wouldn't just be mobile, like stationary like that. What are we talking about here? If you throw something in it, it's going to like move. Like, I'm just like, bro. Then Lex has his grand plan. I'm gonna take some. What did he call it? What did he call that? Little
Protoplasm.
The protoplasm.
Oh,
and cut a piece of, like he took a tire or something, cut a piece. It's like, Lena's like, is that enough for him to be covered up? It's like, well, it's gonna, when it does its thing, it's gonna do the thing, and he just shoots the missile. He pulled off this thing. Like, how? First off, again, the thing with, I think, the first movie. How did you just get, like, those people didn't recognize you? Like, who are you? Oh, you're Sergeant. Like, who are you, sir? I don't know you. Where'd you come from?
They did that bit in the third movie, and I'm like, we got to do it again. Like, it didn't work. It shouldn't have worked the first time.
Man, I just, like I said, y'all, if y'all watch the previous reviews of these first three movies, I was like, they're kind of funny. This one had a little bit of, but this was just bad. The special effects were the worst. Period. Point blank. The flying was terrible. There was a scene when Nuclear Man was flying. I think that was a still image. I don't even think it was like a video. I said, man, this is Final Fantasy VII style. OG. pre-rendered backgrounds. I say this is bad.
You could tell they ain't had like say they ran into major budget problems, and it's like it looked like it.
Y'all ran into major problems everywhere.
What's good, King?
Y'all remember? I think it was either police or military came in for one scene, and I could instantly say that they cheated the scene by like rewinding the video back, and like when they were attacked, they kind of rewinded the video back to kind of show them being
Nuclear
blown
Man
away.
blasted a cop car. And the dude was supposed to fly backwards, but instead it very clearly just looked like they pressed rewind. And I was like,
yeah.
I think I know what scene you talking about. I think they might have some strings on because he came back weird.
No, when you look at it, it looked like they just pressed rewind.
You know what I'm saying? Like he blew back though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the way it looked as if instead of him blowing backwards, he like did the run. Jumped over the car, and it was like, okay, we'll just press rewind on it.
Yeah. Oh, you might be right. Okay, I think you might be right.
If you go back and watch it, I caught it me like that's a rewind. Like I'll just
you might be right.
Rewind the scene.
Yeah, I think y'all right on that one.
Oh my
man,
God.
The explosion when he threw the nuclear thing into like the nukes into the warheads into the sun. The same exact explosion for both of them. He threw the second the same shot. Just, then the second was like an extra little. The little sunspot. I'm like, that's the same exact, like, it's not even anything different.
We're not wasting no money.
Like, Nuclear Man comes out as an embryo and it immediately becomes grown and then it has clothes on and flying to Earth. Like, what? Like, he ain't gonna be like,
that was so jarring.
Just flying.
We ain't got time for what you talking about.
On the way to Earth. I'm coming, Lex. I'm coming, Lex. You call, I'm coming. So I'm not gonna be too much longer, but I gotta touch on the fights with
the what?
I gotta touch on the scuffles.
There wasn't none in this movie.
I gotta touch on the scuffles with Superman and
that's the right word.
And Manicure He-Man. Manicure He-Man. I don't understand the nails. I'm just I don't know. I mean, I will say at one point when he got turned up, he would kind of give Superman that business. He freaking hit him when he was out there on the not Avatar, the Statue of Liberty. That man hit him with the White Panther and my neck. And Superman fell. And also, how did his cape just come off? Because his cape was clearly still on him. And all of a sudden, it just showed the cape falling. I'm like,
beat his ass out his cape. That's crazy.
I guess like the cape supposedly got caught onto the to the lamp, right?
Yeah.
Which another one thing, the scale of the Statue of Liberty was all off.
Way off.
Way off.
They were having to within their budget, man.
Man,
budget was shoestring.
Man, you know what I'll say though? And this is not really a positive, but I guess I gotta give Nuclear Man just a tiny amount of credit. I thought after Clark got over that cold, I was like, okay, well now, I mean, like the best you could do is just scratching him. If you can't scratch him, it sounds like he's just gonna go up in there and whoop your ass. And Nuclear Man was like, no, he ain't. We on this moon, and I'm trying to go back and get there. You know what? Oh yeah, and just like beat him into the moon and just left him there, just like, hey, get in there, get in there, and then just left him. I was like, damn, he beat your ass. Yeah. Like, dang, Superman, I thought you was gonna get your get back. He was like, no,
That's why I said that scene right there, like. Nuclear Man was not. He's like, hey man, I'm here and I'm here to stay. Like, and basically just hit him with an MK versus DC brutality. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody in that game getting beat into the ground. So that's what Nuclear Man's like. I'm gonna beat you into the ground. I'm like, this don't even make sense. I'm Superman. What are you doing? I'm going to just get like what? This all you got? I mean, he was putting them paws to him. I mean, and I will say, I think out of everybody. Nuclear Man had that man looking the worst. That man was up in there. Lacey was looking for him. Everybody looking for him. You seen Clark? You ain't seen Superman? Lois go over there. And she, for whatever reason, just break into his door with the credit cards. I'm like, we teaching people how to break into doors with credit cards. Okay. Just, because I just clearly like, hey, this is how you do this. She opened the door and Clark's over there like, hey, Lois, I'm not feeling good. I'm like, whoa, did you get this man COVID? That man was looking rough. That man was up in there with the crystal looking like Smeagol with his hair all messed up. I'm like, my precious. That man was going through it. Face all pale. I'm like, they got this man looking like a drug addict.
I mean, they needed that because that first scene with him and Lois, he just looked like he was just a little sleepy and needed a nap.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until he went and got that crystal that he looked like
Yes,
he.
he
I was
looking
like,
terrible.
now it looked like you about to die. Like, okay,
Yeah.
at least because you needed that. Because if you ain't have it, I was like, man, I don't know what did Nuclear Man do to you?
Man, he had that man looking rough, man. He had Superman in the scene of Frank Ocean. Crack rock, crack rock. Boy. He had that
Frank Ocean song is that?
You remember this Frank Ocean? I forgot the name of the song, but that's definitely
No,
Frank Ocean. Yes.
Hell no.
Crack rock, crack rock. He had Superman looking at that crystal. It's like,
Crack
hey, man.
rock, baby. Crack rock. Want to smoke you right now.
But I think I'm done tearing this movie apart, man. Oh man, so score wise, so 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 is 10. -3 -2 -1, whatever that is, 0. I don't know, 0.5 something. 0.5. Well, there we go.
1.5.
What's up, Will Terrence?
Gotcha.
So one thing that I forgot to mention that nobody else has, when Superman just caused a solar eclipse with the moon, he just gonna leave it there? He just gonna leave the moon?
Hey, never mind that. You can't just move the moon. Like that would cause apocalyptic, like all types of like cataclysmic events. You
Yeah, like
can't
the
just
tides
move
and
the
everything
moon.
wouldn't be.
You'd have fucked the tides up. Like it'd be tsunamis. You wiping out whole countries and shit. What
do
the
you
fuck
mean,
was
Sage?
that?
I reverse the earth with my speed. I can do whatever I want.
You know what? I
reverse
can,
time.
yeah, but I can give you that a little bit, right? Because like he reversed time, but like to do that, that would mean that he like put his Superman energy around the planet and did that, and that's how he reversed time. Sure, I mean that's stupid, but I'll give it to you. But I can't give you just a basic strength of I moved the moon and just I forcibly caused an eclipse. Like, bitch, what? Like, what do you mean you forcibly caused an eclipse?
We gonna take the moon and push it somewhere else.
Hey man,
It's several
It
countries that no
worked.
longer exist just because of that fight.
Oh,
I mean, we wrapping up our Superman in like, we wrapping up the Superman movies. So one last time, rank the Superman films. Devin.
so I think I did 3, 2, 1 last time.
Yeah.
Well, just put a 4 after that 1. 3, 2, 1, 4.
Okay.
So
Rakeem.
Okay. I think I remember I actually liked 3 more than 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have I'm gonna do 1, 3, 2, 4 is dead. Like in fact, I damn don't even put them together. I think 4 should be by itself. And 1, 3, 2, they can exist in their own stratosphere, and 4 can go somewhere else. That's how bad I think about 4.
Terrence.
This might be the first film series I could think of where it just gets increasingly bad as it goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
Straight like that.
just straight like that.
Straight like that.
Will, where do you stand?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
I'm
Will,
sorry.
that's another 1, 2, 3, 4.
I
I'm
can't.
with Keen. 1, 3, 2, and then 4 at the dead last. Still ahead of Batman versus Superman, though. This is still a better movie than Batman versus Superman. I know that's like
Are you saying 4 is bet?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I know that
Damn.
like some people will say
Damn.
that as a hot take, but look,
Damn.
when you're not true to the character, it doesn't matter how good or bad your film is because you're not like it, hate it or love it. And I don't like this movie. I'm very close to hating it. At least Superman is Superman. And that damn Dawn of Superman, like I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this is. I don't know who the fuck Batman is in that movie. I don't know who the fuck any of them characters are. So like that's the only film I can think of where I look at it and be like, yeah, this is worse. But like even that, of course, there's some cinematography things, special effects that just are done better. But like just overall, I can't think of any other thing that does Superman as poorly as this. And so that was the only comparison I could think of. I'm like, man, this shit just not it. But other than that, like, man, this movie is definitely dead last. I'm with Rakeem, where it's like, if I could put this in a separate category away
Man.
from the other Superman films, which at
So
least
much worse.
try to be decent, this one was not trying at all. It's just like an hour and a half of bullshit. Like, it's weird that it does, like, it. Devin was like, man, I'm glad this was only an hour and a half, but it clearly needed to be longer. It clearly needed more time. It also needed to use the time that it had more effectively. There's just certain elements that just didn't need to be like that. Like when y'all brought up the kids, I was like, damn, that whole scene with the children just didn't need to be there at all. It's just a waste of several minutes that could have been used to develop somebody else, some other plot point that y'all abandoned. Because like there's just the fact that they brought up that farm plot point at the beginning of the movie to make you think like, okay, this is gonna be an important part of the film. And then after he hit that damn ball out in the fucking space, it was like, yep, that's the last time you'll see this farm. That's the last time you'll see any of this shit. Like I mean, he came back to the farm for that crystal, but other than that, it's like, yeah, but all that shit is done for. I'm like, I don't even know. Like that shit should be like, if there's a such thing as theatrical malpractice, this is it. Because like, there's just no fucking excuse for what happened here. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up this week's episode. If you liked it, you know the drill. Hit that subscription button on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Tell your nerdy ass friends and family about us, and do us a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.